You're listening to the Archaeology Podcast Network.
You have my sword.
And you have my bow.
And my trowel.
Hi, you're listening to episode 61 of And My Trowel, where we look at the fantastic side of archaeology and the archaeological side of fantasy. I'm Ash.
And I'm Tilly.
And today we're going to be talking all about dragons.
Dragons?
Dragons.
But didn't we already talk about like the zooarchaeology of dragons way back when with Alex Fitzpatrick?
Well, yeah, we did talk about dragons with Alex.
I mean, that was a really fun episode.
Yeah, it definitely was. But
okay, hang on. So do we have another quest related to dragons?
We do, yeah, we do.
Oh, that's so fun. More discoveries about gigantic scaled beasts with roaring flames and meter-long talons.
Tilly, if you just let me finish.
Oh, sorry.
We're not, in fact, dealing with huge, scaly beasts today, but cute little clay creatures who come to life.
Oh, why didn't you say so? Okay, sorry. I'm listening. Tell me more.
Okay, so we've been approached by the Pennykettle Dragon Sanctuary to help them analyse their current collection of dragon figurines. They are trying to showcase the diverse and uniqueness of their collection. So they want to have as deep analysis as possible. Not just typology, though, but also an investigation into material, firing technique, and much, much more. Of course, this analysis is going to be a little bit more complicated than just cataloguing clay statues because they want to come to life for all of those who truly believe.
Oh, that is difficult. So then I guess we can't really do any kind of like destructive analysis.
No.
Oh, that means we really need to be able to like understand clay just by like looking at it because, you know, we can't do like a deep chemical analysis of it.
Exactly.
But, I mean, do you know anything about clay?
No.
Me neither.
But luckily, I have someone who's here who does.
Yay!
Meet Emma Harrison, archaeologist, potter, and owner of Bugborn Crafts.
Yay!
Welcome.
Hello.
You just happened to be there.
I know, right? It's so convenient that all these amazing guests just happen to show up exactly when we need them.
I think they just live in our cupboard, Tilly.
I think so. They hear us. They listen into our recordings and just jump out every so often. Anyway, thank you for joining us, Emma, and for sitting through that slightly convoluted opening script to this episode.
Aren't we just like slapstick comedians, Emma? Do you not think?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You've got a career in comedy for sure.
You know, I did make a shorter intro and then I thought, this is just so dull. And so I thought, let's liven things up.
It's amazing.
Anyway, and you know what? As luck would have it, I happened to be drinking my coffee this morning from a very cute little mug, which has a picture of a little fox on it. And it's got some swirls on the bottom with the words Bogborn. Do you know anything about that, Emma?
Oh, I think I might have seen that before. Maybe.
So, Bogborn Crafts is your business that you have. So, how did that kind of start? What got you into pottery?
I guess I've been around clay a long time because it's actually a bit interesting because my dad does pottery as well. So he did pottery, like a pottery course, a proper course back in the 80s when he was young. And he never did it as his full career, but he was always doing a bit of pottery just as like a hobby, you know? So I kind of grew up around him doing a bit of clay every now and then. Even if it wasn't like a huge thing, it was always kind of there. So I'd always have a bit of a play with clay sometimes, just make a weird little sculpture as a kid and stuff like this. So yeah, it was always a bit of a thing, but it took a very long time for me to kind of get there in terms of figuring out it's what I wanted to do. So there was like several careers went on before I even got to pottery, I suppose. Yeah.
So what came first then? Was it the pottery since it was introduced by your dad, and then the archaeology came later?
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I mean, we were always visiting things like castles and historical sites when I was a kid, so I was always quite into sort of running around these places and imagining what it would be like to live in the castle and, you know, be a knight or something, as you do when you're a wee kid. It's always fun, isn't it?
Definitely. I think I did a few of that too, to be fair.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
So, yeah, there's always that kind of interest in the past just because we do that as a family, and we kind of moved around lots of different countries too, so I got like a chance to see the history in different countries and different places and cultures. So there was a bit of an interest there in sort of how different cultures developed and what made each place unique and things like that. But yeah, it was kind of a bit later on when I got into fantasy books and films, things like Lord of the Rings, of course. That sort of interest got me into doing medieval reenactment when I was a teenager. So
Cool.
it's really that sort of kicked off my archaeology thing, because I got super interested in historical crafts and trying to make my own clothing and weapons and, you know, all that stuff, leather pouches and everything. So I kind of went down that rabbit hole quite hard. And
now it's your life.
That was archaeology.
I like, by the way, that we've just, you know, you said like, oh, you know, leather pouches and knives and all that stuff, and Ash and I both just like, yes, and that makes me realize how specific we all are in our tastes. We're like, yeah, of course, like, duh. And because indeed quite a lot of this stuff, I mean, I have this cup that I have is I guess a more of a modern design, but quite a lot of what you do is also replicating these like medieval designs and things in your pottery. So like, what's sort of different about those two sides of your business?
Yeah, I mean, there's quite a lot of similarities and differences, I guess, in the two types of things I do in terms of historical and modern. So, you know, both of them are working with clay and they're often made in the same way. So I'm mostly doing wheel throwing, working on like the spinning potter's wheel. But sometimes I'm hand building, so just doing it by coil building or making pinch pots, that kind of thing. So, you know, the techniques don't really differ, but I think when I'm making a historical replica, there's just a lot more sort of measuring and being quite precise about trying to match the historical thing that has to go on. So yeah, it's just a bit more concentration, actually. I've got to sort of take the dimensions of the artifact I'm trying to copy, try to, you know, get that as spot on as I can make it. But I've also got to account for like the shrinkage in the clay when it gets fired. So that's a wee bit tricky. So yeah, a bit of doing some maths there, which is not my strong side. And then, yeah, there's still the more artistic side of making the replicas too, because, yeah, I quite enjoy doing things like the medieval face jugs and things right now. So, you know, they've got quite kooky characters and weird faces and crazy arms and things on them. So,
and they have that lovely green glaze as well.
Green glaze, yeah. So there's a bit of sculpting comes in there, which is more artistic. And then, yeah, the green glaze has honestly been a nightmare to try and replicate. It's been so hard because you can't actually use the same glaze as they used back then because it's absolutely full of lead. I would poison myself and I poison everyone that uses
Are you
them.
really then prioritizing authenticity, Emma? I mean, I think that's
I know.
We're not advocating that you poison yourself at all. So.
I don't really want to die from lead poisoning, to be honest.
I don't think it's worth it.
It is a kind of weird thing that I'm trying to copy the look of it, but not the actual material in that case. So, yeah, that's a bit strange, to be honest.
Yeah.
But I've been doing experimenting for the last few years and I finally got a glaze that I'm fairly happy with. But it's not going to be exact just because it's not the same materials. So there's some weird things like that where you have to do a bit of allowing for modern health and safety, especially when I'm selling it to reenactors who are actually going to use these things for like food and drinks, you know? So,
lead poisoning rife. That would not be good.
That's like, I remember we did a Neolithic house rebuild in Hostelvold in the Netherlands while I was at uni. And they were really annoyed because, of course, in the house plan, like the Neolithic house plan we had with all the post holes and stuff, there was only one entrance, but we had to add in a second one because of health and safety. You have to have at least 2 fire exits to every house, which just seemed ridiculous because you're standing there in this like wooden structure and it's like, if this catches fire, we're all dead anyway. Like, I don't know, it was sort of, you know, but yeah, it's like, great, health and safety, have a fire exit. And you technically were supposed to have a fire, like exit sign, you know, like those fluorescent exit signs above the, I think that open air museums also have all that issue all the time that they're like trying to make it as authentic as possible. And then you have this like bright yellow, this way, you know, sign.
I worked at an open air museum that had an exit sign in the kind of roundhouse actually.
There you go. So there you go. People listening in, if you're ever looking at, you know, historical replicas and thinking, oh, that doesn't look too authentic, just be happy you're not burning to death or getting lead poison. Okay?
Okay. We should be getting danger money.
Yeah, right. Gosh, honestly, we're doing great work here on the podcast. So you mentioned already that you really love reading fantasy, which makes you an excellent guest for this podcast. And actually, I think your name on our book club thing something about hobbits as well, isn't it? I think
It is, yeah. I'm a bit obsessed with hobbits, I have to say.
I mean, you're in good company.
Yeah, good.
So did it start with The Hobbit then?
To be honest, yeah, I think a lot of people, it starts with The Hobbit, doesn't it? So I think I read it when I was about 6, or my parents read it with me, you know, as a nice bedtime story when you're a wee kid. So yeah, I've still got a big love for Tolkien, but I read all sorts of fantasy. I'm quite into my cozy fantasy stuff right now.
Oh, yeah.
But I'm into epic fantasy and a bit of romantasy as well. So all the different types, really. Yeah.
Oh, good mix. Yeah, fantastic.
Yeah.
That sounds good. Because I'm also really into cozy fantasy at the moment. But I used to, when I was a teenager, I was really into these big, like, epic, you know, well, obviously Lord of the Rings, but like all these other big worlds which have, 50 million names in the opening chapter, and you have to learn all of the lore and everything. But which I think, is good fun. But I'm curious, what's your to the sort of the cozy fantasy genre after having come from that really epic fantasy background?
I think I just enjoy the sort of low stakes of it. It's nice just to have sort of, a story centered around a bookshop or a little tea wagon or something that's just quite small and contained, and sometimes a bit more relatable, I think, as well. Because, most of us aren't off fighting epic wars and leading countries and stuff. So,
it's
quite nice
only a few of
have,
us. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, it's just a story that's maybe a bit more relatable to normal lives and stuff. And sometimes I just need something a bit more relaxing as well. So honestly, it's just a bit calmer and a bit more chilled out than the epic wars and things. So I just have to be in the right mindset for the epic stuff, I think. And lately I've just been drawn to that sort of cozy, relaxed, small scale, wee cozy stories.
I agree.
I think that's a good point as well, like especially with everything in the world that goes on and how we see absolutely everything and all the atrocities all the time. You don't really need to read about them even in a fictional setting. When you're reading like a cozy fantasy, it's like completely different. Like some hobbits just did stay in the Shire, and that's okay. And I want to be that. Just sitting with my little books and my tea, or well, your tea, really, me coffee. It's interesting because I think it does make you feel so much safer, and then you can go back out into the world and see everything else and react, so cozy fantasy is the best.
I mean, they still do have important messages as well, right? I mean,
usually, I'm not saying that it doesn't. It's just like was it like eye bleach? Do you remember when that was a thing on YouTube? Where you'd be scrolling so deep and then eye bleach, and then you'd watch like a bunch of kittens be really happy. And you'd be like,
eye bleach. I thought you meant like iPhone, like eye bleach. I was like, what?
A new product from Apple coming out. Eye bleach. Did you look like human atrocities going on? No.
Okay. Yes. Exactly.
But I might patent that eye bleach. Okay.
Eye bleach.
Write that down.
So, do you have a particular favourite book or series that you're reading at the moment, Emma?
Well, it's not quite cozy fantasy, I guess, but I've been really into a particular author called T. Kingfisher.
Hey! Yes, I love T. Kingfisher. That Paladin series. Oh my god. Was it Steel?
Oh, it's amazing.
Paladin's Grace and Paladin's...
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my god, so good. I've actually just bought the copies to have on my bookshelf. I'm very excited.
Oh, nice.
I have Swordheart on my bookshelf to read.
Oh, I've not read that one.
I love
it's like
Swordheart.
more of a comedy one, I think.
It's great. He's a sword, and it's like object agency. It's great.
I know, object agency in its full. Like, we should do one. That one. Actually,
I think we've discussed that we might do Swordheart.
Yes,
but they do have darker themes, and the characters are like sometimes traumatized too, but they are still fun and adventurous and funny. So I love T. Kingfisher so much.
I think Nettle and Bone has been like probably my favorite one so far that I've read from her.
I haven't read that one yet.
Oh,
I also have that on my shelf.
No.
It's amazing. There's a really cool sort of, I quite like the sort of found family sort of trope in books, sort of people coming together from all different walks of life and becoming this little band of people that look out for each other. So it's got a really cool one with a sort of I won't spoil it, but there's a chicken character that's really cool, and then a really old lady that's just amazing, you know? So I highly recommend it. It's great.
There you go.
Have you read, there's 2 recommendations. I know I shouldn't do recommendations, but have you read...
We do not. This is Ash's personal opinion. This is not supported by the Archaeology Podcast Network.
No, excuse me. What's that disclaimer? What do you think I'm going to say?
I don't know. I'm just preempting.
I was actually going to plug Jen's book. Thank you very much.
Oh, yes. No, that is amazing. That's fantastic. Yes. Fully condoned by that.
Jen Dimmower, who was a previous guest, she has done stuff about Ents for us. She's an archaeobotanist. And she has done Foul Days and Monstrous Nights as well. But you might have been in the read along on our book club for that one, Emma. But I would recommend that
one.
It's great. Found
It's
family
really
is
good.
definitely a huge trope in it.
Yeah.
And there's like, you know, lots of different monsters and myths and stuff, and it's really, really good.
Very good characters. And
really good.
I also loved it. I thought it was really good.
Foul Days, everyone. Go.
Jen, if you're listening, by the way, we're looking forward to the next series that you're going to write. So no pressure, but...
No pressure, but we need
pressure.
it now. Yeah. And also the Blackthorn and Grimm series by Juliet Marlina. Marlina, I think her name. That's huge found family trauma, but like great. It's so good. I would recommend it. It's kind of cozy fantasy. Like there's little sometimes there's murders and there's mysteries, all set in this kind of pseudo Celtic world. And yeah, it's really good. I would recommend. And the main kind of, they're not even a couple. They're just good friends. They're really good. They're good. She's like really funny.
Is this
and
the
he's
two
just really
skeletons
quiet.
found together in a grave? It's like no, they were just roommates. They were just good friends.
I'm not going to spoil anything for you, but they're just friends.
You know what? I think if we're going to be chatting about book recommendations, I think that we need to top up our tea in some of these beautiful cups that you've brought us, Emma. So I'll just go and put the kettle on, and we can top those up.
These are really beautiful cups.
Oh, thank you.
So now that we're feeling refreshed, let's get started on our literature review.
Yes. So talking about tiny, cute little clay dragons, which if anyone listening is thinking, what on earth have they scrounged that concept from? Are either of you familiar with the Fire Within series by Krista Lacey?
I've
never read it.
This
No?
was something I was obsessed with at some point when I was like 10 or something, I think. And they're really cute. And it's basically this guy who goes to live, it rents out a room in this old lady's, house. And she makes little clay dragons, and she's called Pennykettle, I think, is her last name. So that's where we got Pennykettle Dragon Sanctuary from.
I mean, it's real, Tilly. I don't know what you're talking about.
Right, yeah, true. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Miss Pennykettle, who is the founder of the Pennykettle Dragon Sanctuary. And anyway, he goes and stays with her, and then she makes him these little dragons, and then slight spoiler alert, but not really, because you find out fairly early on, the dragons come to life, the little clay dragons. But they only come to life for people who kind of believe that they come to life. So at first he doesn't really notice, and then at some point they gradually become more and more real. So anyway, I thought it would be quite an interesting concept, because it's that idea of sort of a little bit object agency, of course, because they're coming to life, but also the object agency is very much dependent on how you perceive the object, because it's only people who actually see them in a particular way that sort of reaction comes back, and that sort of entanglement, hold up. that entanglement becomes valid. So yeah, that's why I thought it would be an interesting concept to dive into. So do we know any other fantasy books with that kind of idea? So sort of either clay that comes to life or objects that are sort of sentient in some way?
I mean, going back as a T. Kingfisher again, to be honest.
Yeah.
T. Kingfisher, you're Terry Pratchett, Emma.
Well, maybe right now it seems to be. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like Ash has maybe read the Paladin series, so in Paladin's Strength, and kind of in the first book as well, there's these people with sort of clay heads.
Oh.
Yeah, so it's got like clay heads, and they steal a dead body, to be honest. It's a bit grim, but yeah, they come to life sort of between the clay head and the dead body. They come to life, and it's
a dead body with a clay head on top of it?
Yeah, so an interesting mix of sort of semi-living something and then a clay head. So yeah, there's a potter involved at some point. I don't want to ruin the whole story because it's kind of the focus of that book, but yeah, it's quite a cool mix. I quite found the intersection between living and clay quite interesting. You know.
Yeah.
But I suppose clay is it is a mythological thing as well, isn't it? I mean, was it the Amazons are made out of clay in Greek mythology, or who's made out of clay? Am I thinking of Wonder Woman? Who's made out of clay?
I mean, we are in the literature review section, so we can see
Wonder Woman is made out of clay.
I don't know. Isn't it that we're all made out of clay? Isn't that the whole thing, that the gods made us out of clay?
And then we put a fire inside of us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah.
So we're really experts here on this podcast, for those of you listening in. As you can tell, we really know what we're talking about. To be fair, none of us are any of us classical archaeologists?
I did a year of it, but no.
I've never done any of it, so there you go. Well, you're the most qualified of us then, Ash. You just state it with confidence and then we'll move on.
Well, one of the Egyptian gods, I'm sure, is also a potter and makes things out of clay. But we'll talk about that in the next section. Yeah,
no, that sounds good. That sounds like a good idea. But yeah, I mean, in terms of then, I mean, I guess it's mythology in a way as well, so it does still fit. But like you say, the sort of the importance of people. And I mean, if we're talking about men made out of clay, anyone who's listened to episode 1 of My Trowel will remember the golems in Terry Pratchett's Discworld. Managed to fit it in. Which, again, it's sort of related to, they're built up and they're given words in their head, and that's what brings them to life. So it's kind of, again, through the agency of people that the objects then themselves get agency. But then that's the whole point of the books, is that they get agency for themselves throughout the story, which is quite sweet, I thought. So they buy themselves and they become their own masters, which is sort of a thing. So it seems to be, I mean, so far we seem to have then this idea of kind of clay people a lot of the time. And I was indeed thinking, I couldn't think of any ones of like clay objects that come to life apart from golems.
I can't think of clay. There's a whole rake of sentient object romances, though, that I know of, and I won't get into that because like some of them are not appropriate. But like, there's loads. There's a Jack in the Box one I remember reading.
Oh my gosh, that sounds terrifying.
It kind of was. Okay. He was a demon. It made sense. So yeah, he was like possessed, the object. There's a pillow. No, that doesn't need to explain further. There's plenty of stuff. A door. There's a door. There's one that I keep saying.
A door?
A door. He's actually a Greek god, so that will relate to later on. And yeah, he's a door. So he gets turned into a tree like they do in the Greek myths a lot of the time. And then the tree gets made into a door, so he becomes a door.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. Well, so there's like a whole wraith of that in fantasy.
Okay. Yeah. No, that makes sense.
Yeah, not in the sweet sentient being made of clay coming alive, becoming their own person.
And I guess it's different if you have a person that then becomes an object. For example, like Swordheart as well, right? Where it's
Swordheart. Well, he's cursed.
Is the sword. Yes, yeah.
So right, he is the sword. He's connected to the sword, and then he comes out and she uses the sword, and then he uses the sword. They all use the sword. He is the sword. Yeah. And he can talk as a sword. Like,
okay,
kind
as
of,
well.
Yeah.
Yeah. And like that's the classic, Beauty and the Beast, obviously as well. Is
he a sword?
No, Beauty and the Beast, you have the candlesticks and stuff.
I was like, the Beast isn't a sword. He's a beast. It's in the title.
I mean, that's living clay, isn't it? There's a teapot and the teacup,
That's true. Yeah, exactly. Although that's sort of more, they were people before and then they get turned into a teapot. Mrs. Potts, good old Mrs. Potts. So, which I'm not sure if she actually features in the original fairy tale, but she should if she isn't. But yeah, so that's sort of one trope. But then I couldn't think of more of an object that is then, now that I'm thinking of Disney, is like the Hunchback of Notre Dame, like with the gargoyles.
Yeah, true. Yeah,
they're also
again probably not in the original tale. I don't know, but pretty cool on Disney.
You don't think that? What was his name? The guy who wrote them? Victor Hugo. Victor Hugo.
Was it? Okay.
He was Hunchback of Notre Dame, wasn't he?
Honestly, I don't know.
Gosh, we're really showing our ignorance in this episode.
There was another fantasy book I read quite recently that had lots of sentient objects, and it was sort of this interesting magic system called scriving, where they'd sort of write a specific script on the objects, and that would bring them to life. And
Interesting.
The main character was the main sentient object character anyway, was a key, and he was sort of from an ancient civilization that had been even better at this sort of magic and things, so he could communicate with the main human character just sort of telepathically and things like this. So yeah, I read quite a bit of things where there is sort of sentient swords and things like this, but not so much clay, I suppose.
Yeah, well, and I guess the classic, right, is the One Ring, which is
of course, yeah,
sort of sentient in a way, I guess. So wait, what's that book called?
Oh, it's called Foundryside by Robert Jackson Bennett.
Okay. By the way, anyone listening in, we're going to be putting a full list of all of the books. I know that we're mentioning loads of books in this episode, but there's going to be a full list of them in the show notes, so do go and check that out. Yeah, no, I was trying to think of other ones, because there's also ones, so there's a lot of ones where people seem to make almost statues of things, and then those statues have certain implications. So like there was one that I found called Kiln People by David Brin, which I've never read, so this is not a recommendation necessarily, but it sounds really freaky. It's like a sci-fi one rather than a fantasy, although I guess there's a lot of overlap, where people can basically create like clay replicas of themselves called dittos, which I thought was quite funny. And they retain all of the memories up until the point that they're made of the person that they're replicating. And then, yeah, there's obviously a lot of stuff that goes on with that. So there's that one. And then there's one called Seven, which is actually a short story by Naomi Novik, part of her short story collection, the anthology called Buried Deep and Other Stories. And that one's about these sort of special clay statues that are made, but all of the potters and the artists who make the clay statues basically get killed in the process of making the statues. It's like something in the clay. There's this special clay. So maybe they were using the lead one that you were talking about before.
Oh no.
I don't know. But yeah, but then, you know, a woman stands up and becomes involved, and it's this whole thing. But yeah, that was also, I guess, that was supposed to be apparently a metaphor for the sort of the sacrifices that are made by artists and potters, which I guess is something that you can relate to, Emma.
Sometimes, yeah, it depends on what I'm working on.
But yeah, but that was the only ones that I could really find with clay, because as we've said, there's been quite a lot with sort of inanimate objects coming to life, or with people being turned into inanimate objects, but actually not as much with clay as I thought that there would be.
Well, I guess that makes the Clay Dragon series you mentioned a bit more special, doesn't it?
Yeah, there you go.
Definitely.
But yeah, because I mean, I must say I was just thinking of Beauty and the Beast again. That's one of my favorite. That's my favorite Disney one, and I do love that. I don't know. Did you two ever have when you were little that you'd kind of wish that your little, I don't know, figurines or toys or whatever came to life? Did you play those games, or was that just me?
Yes, but then I also got a Gollum toy from McDonald's, right? And it lived in my cupboard, and I was so scared in case he came to life. And I didn't want him to come to life. And I would look at the cupboard every night, and I would just think Gollum's in there. And it would freak me out every single time. So no, I didn't want him to come to life.
That's fair.
Because like Toy Story was a whole thing of when we were growing up, wasn't it? So
yeah.
Yeah.
I went and saw the fourth one when I was just about to go off to university.
Is that not the third one?
Is it the third one?
When he'd hand all his toys over?
Yeah.
Yeah, I was also...
Yeah.
I
and
cried.
Like, I think it was all of us, like when it was just sort of that time of our lives, when we're sort of moving out or going on the thing. And I went and saw it with a bunch of my little cousins who were all like 4 and 5.
Aww.
And I was sobbing in the cinema.
Yeah.
And they're all going, "Why are you going?" I'm like,
because it's always been Andy's toys. You don't understand. Like,
I definitely then after that took 1 or 2 of my toys with me to university.
Oh god, yeah, I've got a Beast like plushie that I've still got on my bed.
As in
from
Beauty and the Beast?
Yeah.
Yay!
Yeah, I've just got penguins that travel with me, so...
Oh, penguins.
A little monkey called Jimmy, which funny enough, I've got like this little version of it, and then there was a bigger version that I got when I was a bit older, but I didn't sort of play with it as much. And now my daughters are really playing with that one a lot and really love it. I'm like,
that's lovely.
That's very wholesome.
Yes, exactly. Although my funniest thing about just random tangent here talking about childhood games was I used to have an imaginary twin sister called Madeline, because yeah.
Of course you did.
Of course I did. It had to begin with an M, right? Like it had to, and it had to be
Matilda
similar to
Madeline.
Matilda in terms of like eccentricity.
Did you also
so she's
watch
called
the
Madeline.
film Madeline as well? Like, is that where
With the
it come from?
about the French girl?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you watch her
I read the
appendicitis?
books.
Yeah.
I read the books.
Yeah.
But yeah, and then it got to the stage where at some point I was trying to get ready for school, like for primary school, and I was trying to find my socks and I couldn't find a pair of socks, and I was really stressing out because my dad was going like, tell us we have to go, and I was running around going like, ah, and then I suddenly realized I was holding a pair of socks in my hands. The socks that I'd been looking for were Madeline's socks because she didn't have a pair of socks yet. And I just remember that moment of realization of being like, Madeline doesn't exist. It's okay. I have a pair of socks. I can put them on and go to school.
Oh, that's brutal.
That's so gutting.
Like, obviously I knew she didn't exist before, but it was that, like, I was so deep in the game, and then it was that point of being like, oh wait, it's okay. She doesn't actually exist. I don't have to worry about getting her.
I'm so sorry, listeners, for gutting you this episode. That was horrific, truly. Like, we just saw Madeline disappear in real time. Whoa, I don't know about that. That's akin to Toy Story, definitely. See, when I was a kid, if I watched Drop Dead Fred, have you seen Drop Dead Fred, where it's an imaginary friend who does all the bad things?
No. That sounds terrifying.
You've never seen Drop Dead Fred? No, he's funny. It's I can't remember the actor.
like
now.
cheeky things, like
yeah,
sort of. Okay, I thought you meant like Chucky. I was like,
no. Drop Dead Fred's great, and basically she has this childhood friend, Drop Dead Fred. It's Peter. Is it Peter? He's a really famous British comedian who died in the early 2000s.
Oh no, okay, never mind. I was about to say Peter Saranovich.
No, but he's really good. He was in Blackadder. He played Francis Drake in Blackadder.
Wow.
Yeah, and. Yeah, so she grows up and she goes through some horrible stuff, like I think her husband cheats on her and things like that. And basically, Drop Dead Fred comes back into the picture and in her life. So she's so when she was a kid, Drop Dead Fred did it. When I was a kid, if I did anything wrong, I'd say Drop Dead Fred did it. So he was my my get out.
So, people who are listening in, by the way, might be thinking, isn't this supposed to be an archaeology podcast? Yes, but I think that this is actually a really important conversation to have, because we're talking in this episode about these objects that sort of come to life and things, but it's all relative and it's all what you believe and it's all how you perceive the world. And I think that that's a very important idea to sort of accept when you're an archaeologist, right? When you're looking in the past and that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Like, understanding others' perceptions, understanding that there's a lot of intangible things that might not be visible and like able to be, picked up, but they still potentially exist, like Madeline and her pair of socks.
And also, who doesn't know that the Venus of Willendorf is actually called Madeline and didn't have a pair of socks one day?
Right?
You don't know that.
There you go.
Oh.
Okay, you know what? I've been sitting here and drinking this coffee through this cup, and I love it so much. And can I share a bit of a secret? I've actually always really wanted to learn how to throw a cup on the wheel because I've never done it before. Do you think you might be able to teach us quickly, Emma?
What, right now?
Yes, please. So she said yes. She totally said yes. It's fine. So we need to cut short this episode of And by Trowel. But don't worry, we'll be continuing next episode with part 2, where we'll delve a little bit more into the archaeology and the specifics of materials analysis. In the meantime, as always, please do like, subscribe, follow wherever you get your podcasts. It really helps us to support the show. If you're interested in hearing more archaeology content, make sure to check out the other shows on the Archaeology Podcast Network. If you have any episode ideas or just want to get in touch, you can find all of our contact information, as well as links and further information on what we discussed today in the show notes.
Thanks for listening to this podcast. The Archaeology Podcast Network's chief editor is Rachel Roden. Our executive producer is Ashley Airy. Our social media and newsletter coordinator is Matilda Siebrecht. The APN was founded by Chris Webster and Tristan Boyle on December 1st, 2014. We're supported by our amazing podcast hosts, many volunteers, and listeners like you. Check out membership at www.archpodnet.com/members.
This has been a presentation of the Archaeology Podcast Network. Visit us on the web for show notes and other podcasts at www.archpodnet.com. Contact us at chris@archaeologypodcastnetwork.com.